Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the podium Colonel Joe Kittinger.
Thank you very much. I'd like to notify you that the honor guard that we have today was furnished by the United States Air Force from MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. The commander is Sergeant Cody Patty. Would you please post the colors?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And while we're standing, I'd like to ask Dr. Neil Iuliano to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Iuliano.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Iuliano. Please be seated. Kathy Harmon led us in the Star Spangled Banner. Thank you very much, Kathy. Beautiful rendition. We're going to have a flyover here in a few minutes with three T-34s led by Richard Russell from Spruce Creek. They're going to make a pass by in a normal Vic formation. And then they're going to go out and come back around and make a special formation that the people in the services refer to as the missing man. This formation is flown at funerals with the missing man representing the serviceman or woman going west. Over the site, an aircraft pulls up. This represents a missing man ascending to heaven. The significance today is that this missing man represents the 350 Vietnam veterans from our community that made the ultimate sacrifice during that war. At this time, I'd like to introduce Richard Black, Captain U.S. Navy retired. And by the way, he is the only chaplain that I know that received a Purple Heart in combat in Vietnam with the U.S. Marines. Chaplain Black.
In honor of the prayer and our God of the nation, would you please stand and uncover for the prayer? Let us pray. Father in heaven, Lord of all, you are present with us today, and we know it. And as we dedicate this impressive memorial in Joe Kittinger Park, blessed to the memory of so many as this aircraft before us. It stands as a reminder of the dedication not only of the pilots and crews, but of the heroism of all who have served our country while hazarding their lives and personal future. So many have contributed freely to this effort, while behind the scenes you have watched, guided, inspired, and empowered. And for these efforts of so many, we are grateful. Now be present with us as we, with grateful hearts, honor these efforts and dedicate this aircraft as a reminder of sacrificial military service to our beloved country. And this prayer is made in your most beloved name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Richard. Please be seated. This is a very special occasion to dedicate this F-4 Phantom Monument to the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida. Freedom is not free. Patriots, since the War of Independence, have fought to provide the freedom that we so richly cherish. Our servicemen and women have served our nation, our country, with distinction. Freedom has a taste for those who fight and almost die that the protected will never know. Soldiers know the meaning of freedom and the price that must be periodically paid to assure our way of life and democracy. Today, as you exit the Greater Orlando International Airport, on the left side of the road is a sign that says, "Welcome home, troops." When the veterans returned home following their tour in Vietnam, they were not welcome with such a greeting. In fact, because of the political climate, the liberal media, and Jane Fonda, America blamed the soldiers rather than the politicians for the war in Vietnam. And here comes our flyby. These Vietnam veterans were soldiers who were just doing their duty as American servicemen and women, and have always done since the Revolutionary War in 1776. They did not deserve the treatment that awaited them upon their return to America. Thank God today we treat our veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan with the respect that they so richly deserve. So today we're going to welcome home troops from the Vietnam War by dedicating this war horse F-4 Phantom Monument in their honor for their service to our country. So for all of you Vietnam veterans out there, thanks for your service to our country and welcome home. Will all of the Vietnam veterans please stand up and raise your hand, please? All the Vietnam veterans, stand up and raise your hand. Another round of applause, please. Welcome home. Here comes the missing man formation, and you can see the space left for the missing man. With us today to celebrate this occasion, we have some distinguished guests that I would like to introduce. First is Congressman John Micah. Please stand up, Congressman. He served this community since 1993. With Congressman Micah is his wife, Pat. Thank you, Pat. Congressman Micah is our speaker for this occasion, and more to follow about Congressman Micah. Next is Mayor Buddy Dyer, Mayor of Orlando. Since 2003, he's been our mayor and has done a wonderful job, and more about his accomplishments a little bit later. Now I'd like to introduce the 4 of the City of Orlando commissioners, and we're in his district, by the way. Right here is Commissioner Antonio Ortiz, representing District 2. Next is Commissioner Samuel Ings of District 6. Followed by Commissioner Robert Stewart of District 3. Where's Robert? And by the way, Commissioner Stewart was out here helping us put this airplane on a stick out here a month ago. And Commissioner Regina Hill from District 5. Regina? Mayor Jacobs could not be with us today because of a conflicting schedule, but representing her in Orange County is Orange County Veteran Coordinator Edwin Marrero. Thank you, sir. Ron Lewis represents GOA for us. Where's Ron? Thank you, Ron. During my time in Orlando, Orlando has been blessed with outstanding mayors. From Mayor Bob Carr to Carl Langford to Bill Frederick, Glenda Hood, and now Mayor Buddy Dyer. Today we have 2 former mayors that I would like to introduce. First, Mayor Bill Frederick and his son, John. Bill? Next is Mayor Glenda Hood with her husband, Charlie. And Charlie is, by the way, is a commercial pilot that flies out of the executive here. In addition, we have 2 retired military leaders that I would like to introduce. First is Rear Admiral John Jackson. Admiral Jackson, thank you for being with us, sir. And Major Doug Metcalf, U.S. Air Force retired. And next, I'd like to introduce a couple of my cellmates who were incarcerated in Illinois. Colonel Jim Glenn Perkins was incarcerated for 6.5 years in Illinois. And with him is his wife, Kay. Kay, stand up. Kay? And next is Captain Greg Henson, who was incarcerated for 10 months. Greg, please stand up. Thank you. And by the way, Greg was a member of my squadron. Let me share with you how this F4 monument got here. I served on a committee of local veterans led by Dr. Neil Iliano to build a veterans park by Lake Baldwin. By the way, Glenda Hood gave us that property to build that beautiful park over there. It's adjacent to the current VA facility. It was finished in 2006. Then Dr. Iliano formed another committee to build a monument for all of Central Florida servicemen and women that died in combat since 1900. I was on this committee until the moment the monument was unveiled at the new Lake Nona facility last year. The very next day, I started a committee to build this monument to the veterans of Vietnam from Central Florida. With the assistance of Pat Phillips, Gino Baker, Paul Halyard, and Gary Durham, we started the project. Soon, the word got out that we were going to build an F-4 monument to honor the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida, and we were approached by over 60 local businesses that wanted to be a part of the project to the veterans. We raised over $120,000 from local contributors, from $5 to $10,000. The support from the local businesses was pro bono. Everything that went into this, the concrete, the rebar, the paint, the talent, the engineering, all of it was pro bono. As a matter of fact, I call the project Pro Bono. We had the most professional team, dedicated professionals that I've ever had the honor to work with. I would like to introduce individual team leaders of the project and their companies. Please stand and remain standing when I identify you. George Powell of Powell Design Group. Steve Davis of please hold your applause till the end. Steve Davis of Wellbro Building Corporation. Bill Lowry of ICC General Contractors. Orestes Lorenzo of Castle Constructors Company. Bob Nemi of Winter Park Blue. John Perrone, Parks Department, City of Orlando. Kevin McNamara of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority. Captain Jim Philpitt, U.S. Navy retired, U.S. Central Command in MacDill. Brian Butcher of Hansel Phelps. Joe Territo of Territo Electric. Pat Phillips of the Law Office of R. Patrick Phillips. Mark Ireland of Caris Exhibits. Dave Sirac of WFTB Channel 9. Nimish Biasavar of OM Engineering. Jay Wald of Andrew Construction. Mark Powell of IA Stage. And finally, the F-4 Crew Chief, Stan Winchek of Delta Airlines, Inc. Now I'd like for all of the members of the F-4 project team to stand, please. All of you, stand up, stand up. Our community is indebted to you for your talent and your skills. This F-4 Phantom, number 747, is an old friend. It was assigned to my fighter squadron, the 555 Tactical Fighter Squadron, which we call the Triple Nickel. It was assigned there in 1971-72 at Udor in Thailand. I personally flew 4 combat missions in this fighter over North Vietnam. Also in the audience today are 2 fighter pilots assigned to my squadrons. Marty Cavato, stand up, Marty. He flew this aircraft 10 times. And Greg Henson, Greg, stand up. Greg flew 1 mission in this airplane, and the day following this flight in 747, Greg was shot down in a different F-4 and spent 8 months at Hanoi Hilton. So this was the last F-4 that Greg Hansen ever flew or landed. Over 5,000 F-4s were manufactured and first served in the United States Navy started in 1961. This remarkable aircraft is still flying today in foreign air forces, some 53 years later. The F-4 was the most used and versatile jet fighter during the Vietnam War, being flown by U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, and U.S. Marines. The F-4 was used as ground support to the U.S. Army and Marines to destroy strategic and tactical targets in North and South Vietnam and Laos, to provide escort service support for B-52 bombers, and finally to keep the skies over North Vietnam free of enemy MiGs fighters. In the short time that the F-4 has been on the pedestal, I've been approached by several Vietnam veterans that said that they owed their lives to the F-4 for the close air support that they had from this aircraft. The F-4 was truly an aerial warhorse. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Buddy Dyer, mayor of our beautiful city, Orlando. Born in Orlando, Mayor Dyer obtained his law degree from the University of Florida, go Gators, and practiced law for 20 years before he chose to serve the public office. He had been the mayor of Orlando since 2003. Mayor Dyer's achievements are legendary, culminating in the recent opening of the Dr. Phillips Center for Performing Arts. He is also responsible for getting Orlando his first soccer team. He has been a very busy neighbor contributing to our community. Mayor Dyer.
Thank you, Colonel Joe. What a wonderful day. What a great afternoon. What a marvelous day to be in Orlando and present for this momentous event. I was going to recognize all the elected officials, but Colonel Joe beat me to that, so commissioners know I would have recognized you. I'm honored to join all of you today for this dedication of this F-4 Phantom for all of our Vietnam veterans, and none of this would be possible without Colonel Joe's efforts and the members of the Kittinger F-4 Park Committee that he named, and the hard work of that committee. I want to recognize our city staff and GOA staff that also contributed to make this extraordinary monument. It's amazing driving on the east-west, especially coming from east back to the west, and to see this and illuminated at night. Sometimes I just get off at this exit rather than going all the way downtown just so I can get a better view of the monument as we go by. This honors millions of servicemen and women who served during the Vietnam War, and it took a lot to make this reality, but to Colonel Joe and the members of my advisory committee chaired by Michael Waldrop, and all the men and women that are here today who served or continue to serve, on behalf of the citizens of Orlando, we say a very heartfelt thank you. And to commemorate this day, I want to read a proclamation from the city of Orlando. Whereas on this day we are gathered to celebrate the dedication of the F-4 Phantom, honoring the service of our Vietnam War veterans, and whereas the F-4 Phantom was the most significant aircraft that flew during the Vietnam War, providing close air service for Army soldiers and Marines who fought the ground war, and whereas more than 2.7 million servicemen and women served in the Vietnam War between 1961 and 1973, and whereas more than 37,000 of those service personnel lost their lives in Vietnam, including 350 Central Florida residents, and whereas we are thankful for the bravery of those who have served and continue to serve to defend our freedoms, and whereas this monument will serve as a powerful reminder that we are all here because of the sacrifices of so many. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Buddy Dyer, do hereby proclaim Sunday, December 14, 2014, as F-4 Phantom Day in the city of Orlando.
I accepted this for all the team members on our F-4 team, project team. So now my honor to introduce Congressman John Micah. And as you would expect, such an outstanding individual graduated from the University of Florida. Go Gators. Congressman Micah has served as our representative of the 7th Congressional District for 14 years. During these years, Congressman Micah has been an outstanding leader in the House of Representatives, having held 5 congressional leadership positions. Congressman Micah was responsible for Orlando and our vicinity getting Sunrail. However, to me, having been on several boards working for veterans and veteran cause, I watched Congressman Micah constantly working for veterans' benefits. He was a champion for the Lake Nona VA Hospital, which will open next year. and he assured the continued use of the Lake Baldwin VA Clinic. He is an outstanding leader and champion for veterans' benefits and well-being. It is my honor to introduce my friend, Congressman John Mica.
Okay, I hadn't met this young man before, but I saw him. We've got a couple of young people out here. This is Josh Briggs. How old are you, Josh? 11. He's 11 years old. Josh, look out there. And look here, and look here. You see a lot older people. Now, I thought it was important, Mayor Dyer and others, and you that have a little bit of age on you, that we have someone here who will remember this for the rest of his life. Now, we won't be around as long as Josh, but I wanted you to meet a hero, be on the stage with this man who is part of American history, who's done so much in personal sacrifice. So, Josh, when we're all gone, I still want you to remember this day and this great American. Okay. No, stay right here, Josh, unless you gotta use the bathroom or something. But you gotta stay through this whole thing, Josh. We want you to remember this. You may be the only one around looking out on the crowd here. Well, I'm here, back from Washington. Winston Churchill was an observer of Congress, and he said after they try everything else, they eventually do the right thing. Last night we passed the money for our Veterans Hospital. We passed the pay raise for our military. We passed the money for transportation. We passed the money for assimilation. It's a beautiful day in Central Florida. Well, I started the week, Pat and I started the week going to the White House. It's kind of like going over to a neighbor, you know, who you've been arguing with for a little while. But nonetheless, the president invites members of Congress at Christmas time. We all shake hands and have a good time. But entering the White House this year, they did something they've never done before. They've had some occasions in which members of Congress could send a little note to someone serving overseas or in the military. This year they had a tree, and that tree at the entrance of the White House was reserved for members of Congress to hang one of these ornaments. They gave us these ornaments to hang an ornament. And it was for a Gold Star parent. I know, unfortunately, many Gold Star parents, since I've been elected to represent you, Central Florida, and the United States. I wrote on this, Minna Ernst. Minna Ernst is the wife of a Vietnam veteran who was lost in service to our country. Not only did Minna lose her husband, she also lost her son. And Pat and I hung that up on the tree in their memory and in her honor. There's some who aren't with us today, and we all remember them in our hearts and our minds and our prayers. Joe also said that they came back, many came back, and we're not greeted with the enthusiasm that we have now for our troops and our military. But Joe, you helped make a difference in recognizing them. You took this great big warbird, a symbol and a great tool of combat, and brought it here in our community in this park, aptly named after an American hero of that era who served us so well. Not just a hero in our community, also a hero in our state and our nation. And you, again, made this a very special day. Where's Sherry? Sherry, stand up. Let's hear it for Sherry Kittinger. Thank you for loaning us. Thank you for loaning us a great friend, a great American, and someone who's dedicated his life to the United States of America. So I come to you on a very beautiful day with memories in my heart. I always try to remember to an occasion where we recognize Vietnam veterans and those who served. I remember a very good buddy of mine. I stayed in college. He joined the military, and his name's Jim Hemmons. He was from Ormond Beach. He died in Vietnam. Never forget, anytime at a parade, a function, see anyone with service, I think of Jim and his friendship that was lost at so young a time in life. But we're all here today because of those individuals. We're the fortunate ones, and we're fortunate to have a friend, an American hero, and someone who we all look up to. Joe, thank you for what you've done, not just for this plane, but for our country, for our community, and the history of the United States of America. Chaplain summed it up today. We are a blessed people and a blessed nation, and you and others here and others who aren't here made that possible. Thank you, and God bless America.
At this time, we're going to cut the ribbon on this monument to the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida with Congressman Micah and Mayor Dyer. Join me at the F4. And I'd like to have all of the Kittinger F4 team members that helped build this monument come up here and get behind so we get a picture. So all of you come on up here. Ready? You ready? Here we go. Hey!
All right. Woo! Congratulations, Joe.
Colonel Joe told me to do something, and when he does, you better respond. I was under an aircraft like this, prone on the ground with Marines under attack by the North Vietnamese. An airplane like this came in about 300 feet and dropped some, shall we say, protective cover. I'm here. My wife is not a widow. Let's bow in prayer. Eternal Lord, before whom our forebears bowed and fought for our sacred independence, we bow once again in honor of all who have likewise fought to maintain these same honored principles of liberty and justice. Now in departing, we leave a symbol of dedication of those who have carried on this gallant preservation of our current life of freedom. And now may those who come after us, such as this young man who was before us, revere this precious symbol and likewise be inspired to continue in the preservation of our sacred inheritance. For this we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Please remain standing. Kathy, would you come up here and help me? I'd like everybody to join Kathy and I in God Bless America. Kathy? Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
That
Thank
was
you.
wonderful.
Congratulations. It's a beautiful park.
Well, please be seated. As a young boy, I rode my bicycle to this airport. T.G. Lee, right over there, had a whole herd of cattle. It was wide open range around here. But I used to come here and watch airplanes take off and land and try to talk the pilots into give me a ride. But this was my field of dreams. And it worked. I spent 29 years as a fighter pilot in the United States Air Force and still fly today. I have over 16,800 hours of flight time and 93 different makes of aircraft. I was honored when this park was named after me several years ago. I hope that this F4 monument and park will be a field of dreams and inspire future astronauts and pilots from Central Florida. Thank you for attending this ceremony honoring the Vietnam veterans of Central Florida. Merry Christmas to all of you, and God bless America. Thank you.